come to you from my house. I really don't know how to talk to a camera yet. I'm still trying to get used to this whole thing. Um, but I don't know if you can tell. Like I said in my previous video, I live in a fifth wheel. I have a crazy life. Kinda. Not really. My life is very, very, very boring. It's me and him. I have another dog. She's laying down here at my feet. But it's just the three of us. I have two kids. They, my son is fixing to be 22 in April, and my daughter is 27. She'll be 28 in June, but I don't talk to her. I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but my daughter is a recovering meth addict. She has done meth since she was 19, I believe. And she has been clean. I pray she's still clean. Since 2018. No, 2019. She had a awakening, I guess you could say. She ended up homeless, and she called me and said, "Mom, I'm ready to change." He sees squirrels and birds, and he thinks that he needs to eat them. He thinks that they want to be friends. But anyhow, she, I believe it was 2019 when she stopped and became homeless, like I said, and asked me to come get her and told me that she had nowhere to live. She'd lost almost all of her stuff. She'd lost both of my grandkids. My grandson was living with his grandpa, his dad's dad, and my granddaughter was living with her dad. She decided that she needed to get clean, and she asked me to come get her. So I went and got her and brought her up here. She was living an hour away from me, and I brought her to the city, or up here to closer to where I live. And she started staying with my uncle. She got a job. We was going to court to get my grandson back. And she moved in with a friend of hers. And her friend lived in a house together for almost a year. And she got an apartment, and because she got my granddaughter, and her friend already had 3 kids. So there was no room for Braylee to stay with Kayla, because Kayla's room was very little. But she got an apartment in Oklahoma City, and her boyfriend moved in with her. Well, she ended up going to court and getting my grandson back, but she had to have a room for him. She was living in a 2-bedroom trailer. 2-bedroom apartment. And so they moved closer to me, basically, to the city. And in her apartment, well, her and her boyfriend ended up getting a house toward the middle of it was like July of last year, August. because July, my daughter came down with the bug, and she ended up being hospitalized from it. She had just started working at one of the local hospitals, and within a week, she had caught that stupid virus and was in the hospital for 4 days. But it took her over 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks, to recuperate to where she could actually go back to work and live a regular life again. She came home on oxygen, and that was a whole nother story. They got this house. She had to pay the deposit on it the day she went to the hospital with COVID. And they moved into the house. Well, in October, like I said, this was August. October, her and her boyfriend were having problems. And she asked me if she could have my grandson's dad send her a letter here because he wanted to send her paperwork so she could go visit him because he's in federal prison for drugs, having illegal weapons, money, the whole 9 yards. And this is not the first time that he's been in jail. This is, I think, like the 6th time or something. So I said, yeah, she didn't want her boyfriend to know because he can be kind of jealous. So she didn't want him to know that she was trying to get information from my grandson's dad. So she had the letter sent here. Well, within 2 weeks, her and her boyfriend had split up, and I found out that he had moved out. Well, in the meantime, when the kids started school, I had to take my grandson to school, and everything was fine until we went to the state fair. When we was at the state fair, she wanted me to take a picture of her and the kids in front of the big not double fair, but the big Ferris wheel. There was 3 different ones at the fair. So I was in the middle of trying to take their picture, and Camden's dad tried calling from prison. Well, it came up Washington State. I live in Oklahoma. I figured it was a robocall or something, some stupid solicitor. So I declined it. Well, she asked who it was, and I told her it said Washington State. She freaked out. Mom, why would you do that? That was Michael. He can only call once. He's in prison. And I was like, well, yeah, I don't care. He's a piece of shit. I don't care if he's in prison. I know he's in prison. You don't need to be associating with him. Why are you getting pissed off that he's calling you and I'm rejecting the call? So that immediately had the flags flying for me, because I was like, okay, she's like really talking to him and acting like he's her boyfriend in a way. I said, Brayley, has your mom been talking to Michael? Yes, Meemaw, she said. She said she's been talking to him every day, all day long, and she even asked me if I would be okay if they got back together, how I would feel about it. And I told her, no, Mom, I don't like him. I don't want you to be with him. I don't want to be associated with him. And of course, my daughter isn't going to listen to my granddaughter. I mean, my granddaughter's 8 years old. Well, 9. So the next thing I know, I'm picking the kids up from school, and normally Kayla would say, tell me when she was getting off work, when she was going to be home. She would communicate with me and just let me know what was going on instead of leaving me in the dark. Well, she stopped doing that. And I knew that something was up, because we was communicating all the time. And then all this stuff happened with Michael. So I told her, I said, I can't continue picking the kids up. I can't afford it. I'm not making any money right now. So you're going to have to do something different. So she got Camden into the YMCA program that's after school. And the last she had told me is that she couldn't get a hold of anybody. Mom, I'm trying, but I can't get a hold of nobody. I can't get nobody to call me back. I said, okay, well, just let me know when you do. So this was the Monday after we had went to the state fair. She messaged me and said that her boyfriend was going to pick Camden up from school because he was out of school. So, or he was off work. So he was just going to pick him up from school for her. I said, okay. Well, so that Tuesday, I get in my car and go to get my grandson, wait in line the whole 45 minutes that I sit there and wait in line to get up there. And the teacher comes over and she said, you're looking for Camden? And I said, yeah. She said, well, he started the YMCA program today. I said, well, I guess my daughter just failed to tell me. Thank you. And I left. I was so pissed. Oh, I was infuriated. I was more than pissed. I was fucking pissed. So I sent her a message and said, how fucking dare you make me waste my time and my gas coming up here, making me look like a fucking idiot to not have Camden come to the car because he'd started the YMCA program. Well, I told you, she sent back. I said, Kayla Nicole, if you had told me, my ass wouldn't be 30 minutes from my house to pick up these fucking kids. So I came home and I was so mad. So I came home and we didn't talk again until Thanksgiving. She messaged me the day before Thanksgiving. What are you doing for Thanksgiving? I said, well, I'm going over to Tara's, which is my cousin. I talked about her. And I'm cooking. Oh, shit. Are you okay? Are you okay, baby? And I'm cooking over there. So she said, okay, well, I'm going to my dad's and I got to take Braylee to meet her dad, so I'll come over. I said, okay. She asked if I was making the whole spread, and I told her yes, even my pumpkin cheesecake that she loves. She comes over. She don't even stay to eat. She stays maybe 15, 20 minutes. Sits outside the entire time, vaping, because she didn't want to be in the house with us. To come out and say, well, I got to take Braylee to meet Zach. Happy Thanksgiving, and left. I said, you don't even want to take any food? No, I'm fine. Okay. I didn't hear from her until Christmas. She sent me a text and said, Merry Christmas. That was it. I was in town the week after Christmas, and she asked me. And she said, she called me. Me and Tara was coming back from Walmart. And she said, what are you doing? I said, I just got done at Walmart. Oh. I said, how come you didn't come get the kids' Christmas gifts from my house Christmas? Well, I went and stayed with my friend Morgan, and we opened Christmas there because me and Camden didn't want to be alone. So we stayed at her house so he would have somebody, a friend, to open Christmas with. And then we went to my dad's. So she said she went to Morgan's, and then she went to her dad's. And after she got done at her dad's, her and her cousin Jonathan wanted to watch the football game. So they went back to her house. I said, okay. Why didn't you come by on your way to your dad's? Well, I didn't know what you were doing. I said, Kayla, you know I don't have a life. You know I sit in this camper, and that's all I do, unless I'm going to Walmart or something like that. Well, I didn't know. So, she, so then I said, okay, well, why don't you come get the kids' stuff? This was a Sunday. Why don't you come get the kids' presents? I said, I don't have to see them. Just come get their fucking presents off of my couch. I don't have any room in my camper. Just come get their shit. Okay. Never heard from her. So, a week ago, I loaded up the kids' Christmas presents, took them to her house, threw them under her tree, put her, when she moved into the house, she had given me a house key. So I left her house key and I locked her house and I left. I sent her a message and said, okay, I'm done. You don't want anything to do with me. You can't stand me because I'm such a piece of shit parent. I'm a shitty mother. So you don't want anything to do with me. That's fine. I said, I'm sure when I'm dead, your brother will let you know. She came back with, are you fucking serious, Mom? I didn't respond. Am I wrong? I mean, I don't know what else to do. This child is, this friend Morgan is from the past, from her dope life. She's now dating a guy from where she used to live and do drugs. Yeah, she's living up here and has a good job and has a new car, but I really feel like my daughter is doing drugs again. So I've walked away. I don't know if that makes me a bad parent or what, but I walked away. I don't know what else to do. I can't watch her. I'm an empath and I feel people's feelings, and I cannot watch my daughter destroy her life again. So I've chose to walk away. And then my son comes in here the other day and tells me that he's done with her too because of how she's acting and what she's been putting on TikTok. So I really feel like my daughter went down the wrong path again. We've had a strained relationship her entire life, really, since me and her father split up, because we split up. She was 2 when we split up, and there was no propane. This man quit his job making $16 an hour back in 1993, which was very good money back then. Quit his job and basically was doing odd jobs trying to make ends meet. We had no propane, so we had no hot water. I was having to boil the big, huge pot. I called it a witch's pot, but it was a canning pot. 3 of them to fill up the bathtub enough to give Kayla a bath when she was a little girl, and to wash my own self. His mom lived 2 miles, 3 miles from us, and he even refused to go to her house and wash his ass. And then I found out he was cheating on me too. So I basically left him, and he ended up getting with my best friend at the time. That's who he was cheating on me with, come to find out. And they're actually still married to this day. But I was living with my grandma, and she has, when she was alive, my uncle's living in her house now, but they had converted the 2-car garage into an efficiency apartment. It had its own entrance and exit. And I was living there, and grandma was a drunk, and she came out there and continuously bitching at me, and I went off on her one night, and she kicked me and Kayla out where we was living in my car. A friend of mine found out, and she let me stay on her couch, but she was living in a 1-bedroom trailer with 2 kids, so there was no room for my daughter. So I asked her dad, I said, would you please keep Kayla, because he was living with his mother. I said, will you please keep Kayla until I can get on my feet and get my own place? He said, sure. Little did I know his mother had an ulterior motive. They lived in a different county from me, so she went and filed for custody of Kayla for him. And here, if you put it in the newspaper for 30 or 60 days and nobody responds or appeals it, then you basically can get whatever. Well, that's how they ended up getting my daughter. I didn't even know there was court. The judge was wanting to throw me in jail because I hadn't done anything and I didn't even know that it was going on. So I lost my daughter. He told me that if I tried taking her, that he would get me for kidnapping. If I didn't do what he wanted, he would keep her from me. So my grandma was the mediator. And anytime I needed to visit Kayla or wanted to visit Kayla every other weekend, she would get a hold of Jack and say, hey, I want Kayla for the weekend. And then when she would get her picked up or he would drop her off, she would call me and say, I've got Kayla, come get her. Okay, I'll be right there. So that's what I did. And that went on for several years. And then there was one day I went and picked her up and she had head lice. And this was the 7th time I had picked her up and spent the entire weekend picking head lice, treating her and picking through her hair the whole weekend. And so I got a hold of his sister and said, I can't do this. I said, where's your brother? I can't get a hold of him. I don't know. I said, well, I'm bringing Kayla to you. Y'all can deal with this shit. It's coming from your house. I get her clean, send her home. And because y'all are so nasty, she comes back with head lice again. I said, I'm done. I'm not going to do this. So when Jack got Kayla, he got a hold of me and said, don't bother trying to get her again. If you don't want to get her and take care of her and do what you need to do, then you're not going to get her at all. Okay, whatever, motherfucker. So it was probably, I believe it was a year and a half later. And they contacted me and said, we need you to go to the doctor with us because we're having a problem with Kayla. She's having heart problems. I was like, what? Knowing heart problems runs in my family because my grandpa and all of his brothers, they all died from congestive heart failure. So I was freaking out. I met him at Children's Hospital. The doctor told him and his mother, you're killing this child. She's dying of a broken heart. Stop keeping her from her mother. When they started doing that and I didn't stay away from her again, Kayla was fine. She didn't have any more problems until she was playing soccer and got hit in the chest with a soccer ball and blacked out, knocked her out. That scared the shit out of me and we made her quit. But yeah, after that, everything was fine. As long as my grandma was the mediator, we didn't have a problem. Well, then when she was 11 years old, she came, I had just moved into the same school district that she went. And she said, she called, or she was at my house that weekend. And she said, Mom, if I want to come over, can I just call you? And I said, yeah, honey, call me whenever. I said, the bus can drop you off or I can come get you, either one. I said, just let me know that you're coming so I'll be here or have the door open for you. Because I worked literally right around the corner. So she called me at work and said, Mom, can I come over? She said, I can't deal with Dad anymore. I can't deal with the situation. And I said, yeah, not a problem. I said, bring your stuff so you'll have clothes for the rest of the week. And come on. So she did. And when she got to my house, I said, so what's going on? I said, what situation are you talking about? She said, Mommy, you know how it is. She said, we ain't got no hot water. We don't have any electric. We don't have anything anymore. She said, we've got a place to live and that's it. And she said, you know how the floor is. There's holes all in the floor, so we have to worry about raccoons coming in. I said, okay, I'm done. So that's it. You're living with me. I'm in your school district now. He can kiss my ass. So I called him. This was January. And they was fixing to get out. They had just gotten back from Christmas break. And he said, well, you can go ahead and keep her for the semester, the rest of the year, and we'll see how it goes. Okay. Needless to say, I had her until she graduated high school. She didn't want to go back and live with him, and that's what I told him. I said, she's old enough to say where she wants to live, and there's nothing either one of us can do. So you might as well stop fighting it, because this is Kayla's choice. She wants to live with me. And he was like, well, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Do you know, the whole time she lived with me, I think she was contacted by him maybe 5 times. She had to call him if she wanted to talk to him or go see him. He was such a great father, you know. Wanted to have them kids, but didn't want to deal with them. As soon as he got home, he'd go out to the wherever, the shop, wherever, and work on cars or go with friends, because he's a jackass. He's a piece of shit and still is. I mean, even to this day, I try and go to my grandkids' birthday parties, and he's like, oh, is Misty gonna be there? Kayla's like, well, yeah, it's Mom. He's like, well, I guess I'll go. I really don't want to see that dumb bitch. And I told Kayla, I said, I don't want to see him either. I said, but we can be cordial for the grandkids. I mean, we are adults. Come on. It's so crazy. But anyways, that's my story of my daughter. Just a little snippet. Like I said, she's 28 years old. Fixing to be 29. And needs her ass kicked. I just don't understand this methamphetamine shit and why people think it's okay. You know, I found out that it messes your brain up. It stunts your mental growth. So whatever age you're at is where your brain stops. Because it kills your frontal lobe. Your frontal lobe is where your reasoning is. There's no reasoning with meth addicts. No reasoning at all. They're one-track minded. All they can think about is their next fix. How am I going to get my next fix? How am I going to get the dope? What am I going to do to get it? That's why you have thieving. That's why they are the way they are. And it's sad. Because, I worked in a salon. I'm a hairdresser, like I've said in my past video. I've been a barber since 2001. My first day of school was when the Twin Towers was hit, which was a crazy ass day. But I was working at a shop in Hera in 2017, and there was 8 of us that worked there. Out of the 8 of us, 6 of us had children, had at least one child dealing with methamphetamine. The only reason the other 2 girls didn't have this problem was because one didn't have any kids and the other one had babies. So if that doesn't tell you how bad the meth pandemic is, what I call it, epidemic, whatever you want to call it, it's bad. To have 8 women working at a salon in a small town of Hera, Oklahoma, and 6 out of the 8 of us have a child that is dealing with drug addiction. It's sad. It's super sad. But anyways, I'm going to get off here, and y'all have a good day, and I will try and upload soon. So until then, be safe, and we'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.